We all make mistakes when it comes to collecting. As much as we try to convince ourselves we're better than that, we're beyond the rabble, turns out we're human. We f*** up sometimes. I think my biggest mistake recently would be Legacy pre-war Nova Prime, but not in the way you'd think. It's pretty easy to see what I disliked about him initially. At this point, I'd already been graced with 4 versions in my collection, each of which offered something different and unique. And adding him as a 5th, he was easily the most disappointing one. Not overall, that goes to Kingdom followed up by Netflix, but at least for the ones that I actually have in my possession. The vehicle mode is really weak. The front loses a lot of its anger by going entirely white without much breakup, and the Sunbow Baby Blue just ruins it even further. I've discussed my disdain for this shade many times, and no doubt I will in the future many more. I hate it. I simply hate it. The back has no consistency in silhouette, and I can never remember the way the shoulder armor works, though that was also an issue on Guop as well, albeit to a lesser extent. The standalone vehicle has always kinda been jank, but this might be the most boring color scheme it's had. Though honestly, it's whatever, considering it'll probably be the least used mode out of the 4. The standalone robot, however, I don't know about this. On one hand, I've always had a soft spot for this design, given my affinity for IDW 2.0. It's definitely more alright with the colors, even with the baby blue doing everything in its power to bring it down, but by the same token, couldn't they have given us a new head or something? Did the retool budget run out? And it's still pretty weak source color-wise. Just okay overall, I guess. Really, the only configuration that actually looks okay is the armored mode, which I realized was the sentiment most fans held about the other versions over the years. But still, this does do a lot right. The way they subtly changed the proportions is still very nicely done. The new head sculpt is crisp, despite probably requiring some more paint. And although not articulated, the wings are still reasonably resplendent. It's far from the perfect Nova Prime, but it does do reasonably well. I just still feel like this whole package is being held back by the circumstances of its creation. This is probably the only way we could have ever gotten an official Nova Prime. But even so, at every point it feels like it's being held back by being a retool of a retool. With that said, my purchasing isn't my biggest regret. In actuality, it's not purchasing it. I had every chance to. It was available for pre-order for ages on Amazon, and it was stocked in abundance while I was on my trip to TF Nation 2 years back. I could have bought it at any time, yet I didn't. And you can see why. Everything I've said holds true. This is a disappointing leader class figure. So why was my heart filled with such regret? Why did I go out of my way to purchase one now? What changed?